leave me alone, I'm doing fine. So leave me alone, so leave me alone, so leave me alone, I'm doing fine. So leave me alone, so leave me alone, so leave me alone, leave me alone.
Well, a happy Valentine's Day to you, Terry Holloman.
Well, a happy Valentine's to you, Zach Burns. How you doing?
Yay or nay on the holiday? Is it a holiday even? Would you call it a holiday?
This is a man-made, manufactured holiday. It's a commercial holiday, retail holiday, but it's a holiday nonetheless.
Do you get it? Does it count as a holiday if you don't get the day off? I mean, it's a Sunday, so a lot of people aren't working. I feel like holidays mean somebody's not working.
I guess so. I mean, I don't really consider it a traditional holiday like you would a Christmas, like you said, like something that's universally celebrated and you get the day off. And it's not it's like St. Patrick's Day. Like, no, you don't get St. Patrick's Day off.
No. And that's something you should stop enjoying at age like 26 or 27. at least in a traditional way that people, usually do enjoy it at that age.
See, here's a funny thing. So St. Patrick's Day was something completely different for me my entire life. It was always, if you don't have on green, you're getting pinched. St. Patrick's Day. That's what it was for me for my entire life until I turned like 25 or 26. And I realized, because I was, I grew up in an African-American household.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really celebrate St. Patrick's. My parents never did, obviously. And so I didn't know what it was like for other people around the country that were of age and how they did St. Patrick's Day until I was like 25, 26. And I remember going out with my friend like, holy crap, this is what you do? I love this holiday.
You brought up that getting pinched if you didn't wear green. There was like real terror associated with that.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like there was always a couple of kids that forgot. And
I have on green underwear.
Yeah, you tried to find something. I remember one poor kid, because he was kind of probably going to be bullied that day anyway, because he showed up to school. But the teacher found like a green rubber band or something to put on his wrist just so his kids would stop goddamn pinching him.
Yes, I remember that.
That's such a solution-based like way to deal with that problem. The teacher probably could have been like, "Stop bullying the kid," but just knew that wasn't going to happen.
That wasn't going to happen. Yep, I've seen that situation before, or I've seen the situation, like I said, because my parents didn't celebrate it. They didn't get it. They're from rural Arkansas, and so African Americans from rural Arkansas don't really celebrate St. Patrick's Day. So I used to go to school with like bright red shirt on St. Patrick's Day. If I didn't remember to put some green on, Mom was definitely not doing it. So I was the kid that sometimes I'd be in there like, and then what I would do, I get a little piece of paper and my green pencil crayon, and I color it and put it to my shirt.
I want to get to the other horrible school traditions associated with these kind of quasi holidays, including we're going to talk more about V-Day, Valentine's Day. But I think the last time I truly enjoyed St. Patrick's Day was when I was in Dublin. When I realized I was happened to be there for St. Patrick's Day, doing a live remote broadcast back when radio just had tons of cash and sponsors to throw around. And it was just a Saturday there. So after that, I just felt like we're just big fakers here.
Oh, they go hard. I can only imagine the lengths of which they take it to.
No, it's the opposite.
Really?
They don't give a damn.
They don't care.
No, I mean there was like it was mildly decorated. It's like if you go to a real Christian person's house, like a real devout Christian person, they probably don't have that many Christmas decorations up. They're actually into the solemn, praise of the Lord, not all the gifts and trees and everything. St. Patrick's Day was like, yeah, it was acknowledged. It's not like they don't, know that day is a big deal in the rest of the world, but it's just not that big of a deal for them.
I don't even know the origins of St. Patrick's Day or who even St. Patrick is. Like I said, I figured it out when I was like 25, 26, that it was an excuse for a lot of people to get ridiculously drunk off green beer and whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
and that was
But
clean. That was
I
all.
wonder,
You know.
as Americans, I feel like we always distort holidays into something completely different than their origins. St. Patty's Day, I'm sure, is one because it's named after a saint. And I feel like at one time I knew what St. Patrick's Day, that information is long gone. I have no idea. I almost brought up, like, is he the guy that chased the snakes out of Ireland or something? Like, but I feel like people are just screaming. Yeah, I don't know. But look at that, like Cinco de Mayo. Who knows the origins of that? Every year, I feel like I remember, and then if I bring it up, people are like, no, that has nothing to do with it. Then it gets explained to me, and then by June, I've forgotten already. But it's just become another day. Now you just get drunk on Corona instead of Guinness.
Exactly.
That's basically it.
Another excuse to get drunk. Like, for real, like, since we're talking about it, does anybody know what St. Valentine's Day is all about?
No,
other than we say it's love and Cupid and chocolate and roses?
Yeah, it's another one. And this is what happens when you're just a soulless capitalistic society. It just becomes about just certain expectations, because St. Valentine's Day for me certainly hasn't been about love for a long time. It's about meeting expectations. I'd love to know what expectations are in your household, because I've been in relationships, Terry, where like probably this year the pandemic is saving a lot of dudes' asses. If the flowers did not show up at the office, and again, it's everyone should know this, but it is true. No matter what your partner says, whether or not they want it to be a big deal, just you have to make some sort of gesture. And her friends or her coworkers have to see that gesture. If your significant other is watching FTD show up over and over and over for everybody else except for them, even though they've been telling you for the past month, oh, I'm not into Valentine's Day, and then they don't get those flowers, you're going to have a gloomy night of doom.
Fortunately for me, I will say this. Fortunately for me, my wife works in a construction company with a bunch of construction dudes.
Oh, and
so they don't really get it.
No, they don't get stuff.
But that being said, with the preponderance, with the amount of social media pressure that is out there, and it's like, and I don't get me wrong, because people might be watching or listening. I think it's good to show, how much you care about somebody on a special day and do those things. But there is a tremendous amount of pressure that a lot of people are putting out there. Like, it's been leading up to it. I've been seeing the memes going on for weeks leading up to Valentine's Day. Oh, if you don't get this or that, then you are the side chick. Or if you don't, literally, like, guys are like, oh, if you're alone on Valentine's Day, you're the side chick. Or if he doesn't spend X, Y, Z. And then people, like, I think sometimes really pay attention to that. And it's unfortunately that's what we've come to, but because it should be all from the heart. I'm giving because I care. I want to see a smile on your face. But a lot of people are getting caught up into keeping up with the Joneses and trying to impress some people that you knew from junior high school that are on your friends list. It
is the most competitive of all holidays. In fact, it might be the only one. Like, no one tries to out Thanksgiving dinner anybody else, right? Or there's no July the 4th cookout competition.
My hot dogs.
But yeah, Valentine's Day, it's like, you better do better than a lot of the other people, especially as you mentioned now with social media.
Like, why do people ask? Like, I mean, I know, like, not necessarily per se my immediate circle, but I've seen people ask, like, so what did you get for Valentine's Day? Like, why would you ask that? Why would you ask anybody? Why would you ever ask anybody that? That's like that's like being in second grade and asking what you got for Christmas. After Christmas holidays. It's worse than that, because you're adults. You're adults, and it's none of your business.
Now, and to be honest, Terry, if I never get another gift in my entire life, other than experiences, but there's nothing you could hand me right now, unless I could resell it, that I wouldn't look at anything except clutter.
Yeah.
Like
hear you. I mean,
you just hit this age. Like, imagine if you still had to, or not have to, but like got excited about making a Christmas list. That sounds crazy to me.
it's some honestly right now making a Christmas list is tedious for me because I'm thinking like, what do I really? First of all, what do I really want that somebody else could get for me right now?
Yeah,
I don't think it's in the budget for someone that I care for to get me a new Range Rover. Because that's what I really want. I mean, and then, so if you can't get me that,
yeah,
and I'm not going to ask you for that. I'm not going to put that down. Actually, I did put that down.
why not? Take a
Because
shot.
I knew nobody was going to get me a freaking
Right.
Range Rover. But anyways, I mean, but what do you put down? Like, what do I need? Do I need like? It's not like you need new Transformers. I need new, He-Man tall. What do you need? I don't need a new screwdriver kit. I mean, what do I need?
The things that I used to like to shop for, now I just can get anytime I want them. Like I used to just have this prolonged, list of CDs or whatever. I don't collect records. Every few years I decide, I'm going to start buying records again. I get like 10 deep and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Because I know, the last thing I ever want to see it and be shown at someone else's house is their record collection.
Record collection?
I'm not interested. And people are like, oh, it's the only way you can get intimate with the music. Really? Because I got a pair of headphones that are real fucking loud.
Crisp and clear. I can hear everything.
Exactly. Like I'm feeling the tunes. Because I don't get to touch it and feel the grooves. And everyone you got to appreciate the artwork and read the liner. Did you ever read any liner notes? They just thank their producers, their families, whoever, eventually their fans.
No.
And then, every 7 years or so, just talking about acquiring new things, it seems like my life completely falls apart and I have to move across the country anyway. So now you're just giving me more shit that I'm going to have to pack into the smallest U-Haul, most likely.
Speaking of this, it's funny that you bring that up because I have it right here in front of me. And I should know better than this, Zach. And I've had discussions with this about people for a while now. You've heard the whole thing about what you ordered versus what you got.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing about ordering things online. And I've known in the past, like I ordered a jacket offline. I saw a really cool jacket. And I was like, oh, that looks great. I'm going to get the XXL jacket version because I know I have broad shoulders. And it shows up and it's like, it'll probably be a XXL for my 8-year-old son. Like I couldn't thing past my arm, right? So that's what I ordered, looked great, and what I received was a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I should have known better. But I was flipping around on social media about a month and a half, 2 months ago, probably 2 months, and I saw an advertisement for a doormat. And it was kind of funny, but it was kind of cool. It was an Easy E doormat. Easy E doormat, and I'm like,
what does that mean?
I
of course know Easy
right?
E. Yeah,
Easy E, and it had one of his notorious lyrics on it. It said, "Knowing nothing in life but to be legit." And I'm like, oh shit, that's a cool ass doormat. I could put that in like one of my back doors or downstairs in my office, cover the space. It looks so cool. And I ordered it, just spur of the moment. I felt it. Something I could have and hold forever. Month passes, I don't have it. I'm like, I got scammed.
Mm-hmm.
I got stripped for my money. And so I kind of stopped looking in the mail. And then all of a sudden, like 2 days ago, Zach, this package shows up from China. And I got to show you my doormat. But everybody, if you cannot see it, I'll put it on my Twitter feed for you guys.
Yeah, please do.
And it's like the size of a dinner mat. And it's not a doormat, guys.
It's not.
I really thought about using this as a dinner mat.
You should use that as a dinner mat.
Like when I eat dinner, I'm gonna be like. Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes just buying stuff, it's you just end up with clutter and stuff.
Yeah, I've had that experience where I bought a coat that I thought was like a long trench coat, and then when I got it, it went to my waist. And then I should have known because it was like $12.99. But I'm like, I don't want to think about it because that means one of two things: I'm not getting it, and I don't want to believe that, or an insane amount of human suffering went into making this coat, because this should not cost $12.99. Yeah,
no.
It showed up 6 weeks later, and was, I never wore it because it would have looked ridiculous. So it was shaped like a trench coat, but it just stopped at the waist. It looked ridiculous. And then there's no
the same coat that I ordered.
You need like 4 international codes to call their version of customer service. So they know once you have it, no one's going to jump through those hoops to give it back.
So the package that I got my placemat in, and again, you don't really pay attention when you're clicking these buttons online. It just says, hey, get your thing, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows up, and the package is in all like the Chinese. I don't even know what you call them. They're symbols. There's no words like for the address and for who sent it, and nothing. It's just like treehouse, panda bear,
right.
all this shit. Right. I'm like, who do I even reply to? Like, if I don't like this,
right.
I want to send it to.
It's yours now forever.
Forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to see where that thing is going to be in 6 months. What is that going to become?
It's parked down here in front of my workspace. Compton. Know nothing in life but to be legit.
All right, I did want to flash back to grade school again with you, Terry.
Let's do it.
Did you have this process? Now, it seems like, I know people complain about schools and the whole everybody gets a trophy thing, which is, I've heard that complaint since I was 1 year old and I'm 41. So that's not a new thing. I do feel like schools in a lot of ways are much kinder to kids when you're 8 or 9, the difference between a good day and the most devastating day of your life is like one little slight from someone. That's it. You're emotionally unstable. Right. So then they create on Valentine's Day. Tell me if your school did this. Everybody had to make like these sort of like mailboxes, and you could decorate them and everything. And then you put them on the front of your desk. You like taped it to the front of your desk, and then instead of an English lesson or whatever one day, everybody would go around and pass out Valentines. Now today, I think it's mandated, or people have just realized it's really cruel if you don't do this. You have to bring one for everybody.
Yeah.
When I was in some incredibly awkward years of my life where I had bifocals, headgear, horrible clothes, no confidence whatsoever, those were not the rules. You brought them for the people you wanted to give them to. So there would be 5 people in class where their Valentine mailbox is just overflowing because they're good looking or pretty or whatever.
Funny,
it's
cool.
Like exactly, and they're probably getting candy on top of it. Right. And then there's the rest of us, the other guys, who are just sitting there, and maybe we brought some for each other. So I'd be sitting next to, and you can just tell by these 2 names that they weren't the cool kids, Terry. I'd be sitting with Chris McCrum and Rod Stern, just watching. This is the worst 2 names. Sorry, guys.
Love you guys.
Just waiting, hopefully. And there were, I feel like every class just had, even if she was reasonably popular, just a very kind person. So we would get like the one from them. But, 30 kids in the class, we may end up with maybe 2 or 3. No candy. No one's giving us the bells and whistles. We're getting just straight up, no personal message. Just they got it. They signed their name. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That day still haunts me. Because it's such a prolonged rejection, because it takes a while for all of this to happen.
Yeah.
Like for everyone to go pass it on, kids are chit-chatting and everything.
Right.
And you brought them for everybody.
You're walking around putting your thing in everybody's envelope. You're back at your desk, and there's nobody there putting stuff in your mailbox.
And then you're just sitting you're done looking through them in 20 seconds. For everybody else, it's taken 20, 25 minutes, or so they can go through their messages.
They got to bring a duffel bag.
Exactly. I don't know if that was your school Valentine's Day experience, but that was mine.
So here's my experience with it. So I moved around a lot when I was a kid. Like I went to like 19 schools. before I
Jeez.
graduated from high school. So I went to first grade and second grade at one school, went to third grade at a different school, fourth grade at a different school, fifth, sixth, different school, right? So fortunately, I kind of had similar experiences when it comes to Valentine's Day and stuff like that. During those elementary years where we didn't necessarily make a mailbox. I think we made like it was like a manila folder, a colored paper thing. You fold it up and make a little pouch and people could try and slide it in or whatnot. And a lot of times I was always the new kid. Like I was the new kid. A lot of people maybe didn't get a chance to develop a stereotype about me, or he's the nerd, or he's the this or that. I was always the new kid, and everybody wants to try to, be friends with or impress the new kid, and the new kid is always trying to impress everybody. So, I got a bunch of Valentines. I was the kid that people filled up his little manila, envelope, and that was cool. But I gave everybody. I was cool with everybody. Hey man, stay cool. Happy Valentine's Day. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Cool, bud. Great being your friend. Da da da. But something that happened to me, like I think it was last year, maybe the year before, that was really, really cool, man. Was there was a girl, I remember her name. Like I said, I went to first and part of second grade at one school. That's the only time I went to that school, and I never came back. Never came back to that neighborhood, never came back to that area, nothing. But there was a girl that I used to have a crush on in first grade. And I made her a Valentine, like I got this Valentine and I colored it in and do all this stuff on it. And I remember being so excited about it on Valentine's Day. I'm going to give it to her. And, of all the cards I had, that was the one special one I was making out for her. Gave it to her. Not a lot of fanfare. And life went on. Never saw this person again for my entire life. To this day, I have not seen her since first grade. We became Facebook friends a few years ago. And she sent me a picture of my Valentine card I gave her in the first grade last year.
Wow. Now
I remembered it.
How did that make you feel? Honored or spooked a little bit?
I mean, I won't say it. Honestly, I felt it wasn't spooked. It was honored. Like she had no reason to keep. Like it wasn't. It wasn't like I was some celebrity or somebody special or cool that she needed to keep this. She said her mom had it in the garage and a bunch of stuff, and she pulled it out one day and found it. And I was like, holy, I mean, it was more nostalgic than anything. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Took me back to first grade in a situation where people I have never seen ever again. When I say I've never seen them, heard of them, heard their voice. We weren't pen pals. 40 years later.
That's like kind of what was cool about Facebook when we all first started signing up for it. Before it became the hell that it is now. Because of course we've just turned it into something that's rotten. And then now everyone's mad at Mark Zuckerberg because he's like, I'm trying to stop the rottenness, but you all are rotten. So what do you want me to do? I gave you this amazing thing, and look what you've done with it.
The crazy thing, let's go back for a second, Zach, and talk about that, because I remember when I first got introduced to Facebook. Again, by somebody that I knew when I lived in Canada. I was going to a junior high school, and it was a friend of mine from back then. They're like, hey, you ought to get on this thing called Facebook. All of our friends from that junior high are on this thing called Facebook. That's what got me started. And I got on there, and I honestly thought it was a thing just for our school. Like, I thought it was just like, oh, these are all the people from my school. This is a cool thing somebody made. And then from there, it turned into other people that I knew from other schools, and then it just kind of grew. Then I would just go on to play games.
Yeah, that was a gaming platform for a while. Like Farmville was a topic of discussion.
That's what
people would just talk about Farmville.
Farmville. I was like every day, like, are my cows getting enough? Do I need to grow some more stuff? I need more chickens. I gotta have more chickens. I'm gonna buy some more land. It was crazy. Like, I mean, what our world be like today if all we did was stop at Farmville? Like, we would have never had a President Trump. We would have never had a president. We would have never had QAnon.
It's true. That was occupied a large portion of our brain every day because, of course, we play a game and love a game that only adds anxiety to our lives. That's why I just couldn't handle. I played this Sims game that it was like a Sim theme park game.
Yes.
And the fucking bathrooms kept breaking. And I'm like, why am I playing this? When I'm away from it, all I'm thinking about, like, all right, I think I just probably added some more people coming through the park. That means the bathrooms are going to break, and I'm away from my computer, so there's nothing I can really do about it. So I'll just have to wait until I get home. But I'm away from home, and I'm thinking about this virtual world that's just causing more stress for myself.
And think about that. There was a time when the only way you could get on it was to be in front of a computer. You had to be sitting in front of a desktop. People weren't on their phone doing Facebook. You had to, because I recall this, and it was so weird. People used to be like, "Why don't you go do some work? Why don't you get off Facebook?" I'm like, because it's right here in my hand. But for a long time, you actually had to be away from shit to do Facebook.
Yeah.
And now it's just we're just on. It's everywhere around us. It's totally encompassed us.
Are you one of those people when I'm out with someone, Terry, and they look at their phone? I know that some people get really annoyed by that. I never do because I'm a limited entity as to what I can do, talk about, provide for you. And then in your hand, you have the rest of the motherfucking world. So I don't blame you for looking at it.
Hey, they got you right there. They're on your Facebook page, finding out what the fuck you're doing, and you're right there. Hold on, man. I'm checking out the page. I probably could just ask you this, but this is way more entertaining.
My Valentine's Day is to be spent with my parents. They're coming to visit me, so they'll be here quite soon. But before we log off here, you have to tell me about the snow situation out there in Snohomish, because I'm seeing. I don't get tired of the word snowpocalypse. Actually, I quite like it, but this is like almost unprecedented. Are you one to enjoy this, or is this just a headache for you?
Well, first and foremost, I got to say you cannot spell Snohomish without snow, and I'm cool with it, man. I'm not one to get overly like. I do like the snow. I will admit that I do like it. I don't get overly excited like some do, I suppose. Once you've lived in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada,
yeah.
Snow doesn't really move you like that. It's like people like somewhere else might be like, oh, it's raining, we're not going outside. Like when I lived down south and it rained, you don't go outside. Here, if they say you can't go outside when it rains, you're not going outside. So people don't get moved by the rain here. So that being said, where I live out here in the sticks of the anarchist jurisdiction, I'm going to take you guys and give you a little sample of what's going on.
Please do. I always love a tour of the Holloman house.
We're not going very far. We're just going to go to the window.
Okay. All right.
That is the snow of Snohomish.
That is a thick blanket.
Thick blanket with my ducks back there chilling.
You have so many ducks back there. Why?
Because when they come to eat, man, shit. We got like the Denny's of the duck world. They come and just line up and they know where the food is, man.
Oh my God. You're like, I mean, now I think I might understand why you're getting into The Sopranos. Tony also had a thing with ducks.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
When I saw that for the first time, I was blown away. By the way, a couple of things. I'm done with The Sopranos, man. I'm finished it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm having like withdrawal symptoms. I'm hurt. I'm kind of confused. I've delved into something that probably wasn't there. Did you watch it as it was going?
Yes.
So this might not have been a thing as much back then. I'm sure it probably was. Now I think about it, it wasn't that long ago. But I have took a full head first dive into the Sopranos message boards, like determining like what happened, what did I miss, where were the Easter eggs, what did this mean? Okay, and at the end, what are all the conspiracy theories?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now.
Did you? It's happened so long ago. I think 2007 was the finale, so this is hardly a spoiler. But the last scene is very controversial.
Very.
Yes, it's
Very.
just it's an unexpected cut to black.
Yes.
You kind of the scene is the Sopranos are all out to dinner, and they're building sort of tension. Tony's on edge because Tony's always on edge. Checking out everybody that comes in. Meadow is like having trouble park her car. That's like elevating tension as well. So you think they cut to the shot of Tony and he's looking like right at the camera, and you think like, oh shit, they're gonna kill Tony. That's gonna be the end. And then just cuts to black. And I remember you probably I was watching in real time, and I was like the rest of America watching it then, like, oh my God, my HBO went out. Like right now, are you serious?
Yep.
But no. And then all of a sudden, created by our executive producer, David Chase.
Yep.
And man, I would say 9 out of 10 people who watch that show in its entirety hate that ending.
Oh, they were on fire on all the message boards, but I can only imagine back then the amount of probably rage people had, or anger, or disappointment, or just anxiety about that situation.
But you want closure in your stories.
You do.
Like that's why you read all the Harry Potter books, so you could find out how he kills Voldemort. That's why, Sherlock Holmes is so timeless. He always solves the case. But David Chase he's like, because there were characters, a very famous episode that takes place in the Pine Barrens, where Christopher and, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Christopher and another guy, they're like trying to kill this Russian, and the Russian gets away. And then you never see the Russian again. And David Chase is like, yeah, that's kind of how life is. You'll have these intense interactions with someone and then never see them again. That's more likely to happen than not. And that was the way he sort of dealt with the ending of The Sopranos. Like, no, the story's this is just wrong. I'm going to stop telling the story. Tony will go on. AJ and Meadow will go on. But this is where the story ends for me.
Well, I think honestly, since we've now turned the end of the anarchist jurisdiction into the Sopranos breakdown, I will tell you, just in going into some of those message boards and then going back and having the ability to DVR and go back and kind of watch some things. I think part of it was some artistic ingenuity, we'll call it, and artistic liberties that he took in creating that scene and creating that ending, is that he wanted people to use their brain and interpret that in however which way they wanted to. But there was so I don't know if you remember all these things or if you dove into the message boards, but in the episode prior to the ending, so Tony and his brother-in-law, Bobby, were talking about, killing people. And when you die, how does it happen? And Bobby said, you probably don't even hear anything. It just goes black. And then fast forward to the ending, that's exactly what happened. And so there are all sorts of things like at the end, and we're given this 12-year spoiler alert, is that the guys that were coming into the restaurant where Tony and his family were sitting, first of all, there was the guy with the members only jacket.
Yep.
And those were normally the guys that were the suitors in The Sopranos, the guys that had the members only's coat, right?
Yeah.
So then there was a group of African-American guys that came in. And in season 1, the group of African-American guys tried to kill Tony. They shot him up. So Tony's on edge. He's looking up, looking at all these people coming in. And then he looks up for the final time. And then everything just went, he didn't hear anything. The music went dead. The TV went dead. And that was the end. Yeah.
Would it make you feel better? As someone who consumed the rest of the story, if now believing that he is dead, would that be like a fine piece of closure for you? That'd be a nice way to wrap up The Sopranos.
I think in my head, it's like, I think I come to the conclusion that he is dead. It's kind of like everything else that happened in the entire series. Like Christopher's girlfriend, fiance, whatever her name was, and whatever. If I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Adriana.
Yeah. She just disappeared, right? She's just off the face of the map. No one knows where she is, but from everything that led up to that, we can assume that, or everybody else, like the FBI, could assume she's dead. Her mom assumed she was dead. Mm-hmm. Everybody that just disappeared from the show, you just assumed they were dead. So when Tony, it ends, it goes to black. I think I just assumed he's dead.
Did you like Tony?
Tony had some endearing qualities that I liked. I think at his base, he was a broken human being. And I think that made him a piece of shit. Like,
yeah,
he was very transactional with everybody in his life. He used pretty much everybody for his own benefit, but without trying to psychoanalyze too much, it's like, how did he get to that point? Like, what drove Tony to be that person? Like, and I just think about that in life in general, not just Tony Soprano. Like, sometimes I'll be looking at somebody that's on the street and they're obviously in some kind of chemical dependency, and they're just, they're okay with living on the street or whatever it might be. And I ask myself, like, who was that person when we were in third grade? Like, because he wasn't born with this whatever he's dealing with. He wasn't born with those issues.
Right.
What drove that? Because the guy that was in third grade, that was your cool buddy that had all the Star Wars toys and all the good stuff, and just was a friendly dude, and now he's on the street. So how did he get there? I think the same way Tony normalized killing people and using people and just being just a piece of shit. Like,
I think one of my favorite moments is because he's an anti-hero in the sense, like, he's not heroic, but he's the person that you root for most in the show. Yeah. And even the FBI, who was in charge with investigating him, when Tony secures a victory over another family, the FBI agent is like, yes, we got him. We got one. Like, even the FBI it's weird. It's weird how there's a lot of characters that become beloved, even though they are just, sociopathic criminals. Walter White being another great example.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's like, there's things that he does that you find like, I could like that guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like,
you would want Tony Soprano to like you.
Yeah, you would.
You would try to make that happen.
He's a funny guy. At times you could tell sometimes he really cares. Like, there's sometimes you'd be like, oh, he cares. He could be a good dad, and then the next minute he's doing like some dumb shit to his kid. Yeah. And like, wow, okay. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, last question, Terry. Is Russell Wilson going to lead the Seahawks? Are they going to part ways?
Hell no. Not just no, but hell no. For a number of reasons, man. And first and foremost, before you even get into all the details and the minutia of his contract and the money and all that stuff, he's the face of the franchise. So I'm watching all these people in Seattle that claim themselves to be Seahawks fans or 12s or whatever you want to call them, saying, get rid of Russell, good riddance, we can pick up some other players and solidify our offensive line and get a quarterback in here that can do the job. Are you kidding? Are you freaking kidding me? Russell Wilson. So just right now, Zach, if you got rid of Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks, who is a more marketable face in Seattle? Like, not even just sports, but just in Seattle. Mm-hmm. Who's a more marketable name and face nationally than Russell Wilson?
Yeah, it's not even close.
It's not close. Your team instantly.
It hasn't been close. Like, individually, the Legion of Boom weren't as big as Wilson ever was. Collectively, maybe.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's not. Wish people would look at the bigger picture. Like, instantly, I mean, maybe you just be like, okay, I don't care. I just want to watch the Seahawks, go, 5-11 every year. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Or do you care that people around the country don't even care? Like, because I lived in Texas and I lived in Arkansas, and nobody down there cared about the Seahawks ever. Until now, you have someone like Russell Wilson, who not only is he one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League, he's one of the most recognizable faces in the football league. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer when he's done. He's the most prolific quarterback in the franchise's history. Not only all of that, but he's married to a bona fide pop star. He's out there doing all kind of charities and awards and doing all these things. He's just a great representation of the city and of the franchise. So for him to go away would be a huge deal for the team and the city, not to mention the financial aspects of it.
Yeah. The contracts get so complicated. Yeah. But yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard of any iciness between. I've heard of iciness between Wilson and teammates, but never between Wilson and front office folks.
And I don't even think that's the case, honestly, to tell you the truth, Zach.
Maybe not.
I think what happened is, I mean, it happens every year around this time. There's no football, people get bored, and then they start making stories. And we're gonna make mountains out of molehill. Russell Wilson basically said, "I'm tired of getting hit. I'm tired of getting hit." And I would. If I was Russell Wilson, I would probably say the same thing too.
Yeah, every year they never beef up the offensive line. Dude gets pounded. And he's not big. He's not a big guy.
He's not, dude. That's another thing. So I've always, like, my whole life of playing football, I think of the quarterback position. I think of somebody that I have to do this to, because he's probably like 6'4", 6'5". So I'm looking up, and the number of times I read Russell Wilson, and we see eye to eye, and which is like, and I'm saying that not as a slight. I'm saying that as like, holy crap, my height, and is doing like amazing, incredible Hall of Fame type stuff at the quarterback position. So it's just crazy, man. Like I said, this time of year, people start making up rumors and things to talk about. He said he's tired of getting hit. I don't blame him. They got a new offensive coordinator. Russell Wilson is now, like, he's the old guy on the team now. He's not the young superstar, not like phenom back in the days that was like, holy smokes, it's Russell Wilson. This kid is amazing. No, this dude has been doing this 9-10 years. And so what you see is what you get. He's the real deal. Now he's like at the stage where he's like, I want to be like Tom Brady, and I want to start calling some shots around here. You guys gotta protect me. I'm a legend. And he's never gonna say that in those words, you know what I'm saying? But if I can't put my weight around sometime, why am I the quarterback that's here doing this?
It was a rather mild thing that he said too. I mean, he did just say, as you said, I'm kind of tired of being sacked. And he does have a legitimate point there.
Because every year, Zach, they kind of like piecemeal together on offensive line.
It's like Jermaine Ifedi is just bad, and he just stuck around forever.
They just kept like, you either jump offside or just let you go by him.
Exactly.
And then, all right, then they go get some old guys from some other teams that people don't want. And they actually turn out to be kind of okay, but they spent some time. They put some guys that were on defensive line and tried to make them offensive linemen.
Oh, jeez, can't do that.
So
yeah. All right, dude. Well, back again on Tuesday. I know you're firing up the Traeger tonight. I know that's exciting.
Valentine's Traeger.
Nice.
Nothing says love like grilled meat.
Nothing like that. Nothing says romance like ribs.
Yeah.
All right. Patreon.com/BurnsandHall. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, and we'll talk to you again in a couple days. See you, buddy.